Jimmy Thang here from E3 2012. We're at Sony's booth, and we ran into the famed creator of God of War, David Jaffe.
Hello, how are you? I paused because there's, I mean, look around at all the people wearing the t-shirts. There's not one creator. I mean, granted, I was the lead designer, lead director, blah, 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 but there's a lot. I always get uncomfortable when somebody says you're the creator, because there's a lot of us who make all these games, and I had nothing to do with this great game. This looks awesome. So I'm just here as a fan and sort of to cheer on the Santa Monica guys. It's a great game.
Right, and we're sort of near God of War, the new God of War that's coming out. And yeah, so it's a correction for that designer, not creator. But we actually, I haven't really seen what you've been up to lately. I know you used to obviously work on God of War, and then I know the last thing you did was Twisted Metal.
And since then, we've been doing a little maintenance on that, tuning, tweaking, balancing, and that's ongoing. But I've left Eat Sleep Play, which was the developer that made that. And I'm setting up a new developer right now in San Diego. So most of my time has been in sort of design mode, figuring out what we're going to make, interviewing producers, teammates, things like that, to build sort of what we think is going to be the next really cool thing.
So at this point, you have no idea what project you're going to create?
Exactly what I'm going to create. It's going to be a free-to-play, browser-based game. I hate free-to-play, but I love aspects of free-to-play. The idea is to tweak the current free-to-play model if you play something like Tribes, or if you play something like World of Tanks. Well, Team Fortress is a little bit different, but we're basically what we really want to try. And I'm okay. One of the things I'm doing a lot here at E3 is talking to a lot of people and making sure they have the appetite for sort of they want to jump in this with us and go, how do we make a free-to-play game? Not just conceptually, because there's a lot of games that say, oh, we're doing free-to-play for gamers. But what they're meaning at the moment, they're great games, but what they're meaning is they're talking about the mechanics or the theme. And those are important too. We've got a great IP, great mechanics. We're really excited about that portion. That's the most important part. But the other thing that I don't think they have done yet that we want to really do is say, how do we make free-to-play for the gamer where the business model itself is really respectful of the way gamers think. And a lot of free-to-play is basically pay to win. And they'll tell you that it's not, and I appreciate why they're saying that. And I guess you could kind of view it a certain way and go, well, it's not, but it kind of is. That's the way I feel about it anyway. And so my theory is that we have some ways that we can come up with, and that we've come up with, that will allow the great parts of free-to-play, which is lots of players, lots of access from all different peripherals. It is a shooter. It's not like, it might be fun to play on an iPhone if we can figure it out. Definitely controller-based and keyboard mouse-based. But we want to make sure the good parts of free-to-play are kept intact. But we really do bring free-to-play to people who are gamers, and the business model respects the way a gamer thinks and not just the way a businessman thinks, which is what I think a lot of free-to-play is right now.
Is the game affiliated with Sony at all, or you just happen to be in the Sony booth?
No, we haven't announced. To be honest with you, we're talking with a lot of people about sort of affiliating and working together. We're honestly even talking to Kickstarter. We're not talking to them, but we're talking as a team about doing Kickstarter. We might not. Part of me doesn't want to. I like working with publishers. I've had a great experience working with publishers. I'm still a big Sony fan, even though I don't get a paycheck from Sony anymore. But a lot of it is, I don't know if we're going to be able to go out there and find people who are going to want to publish a title where the free-to-play model is so different than what's out there. But I feel that we really have to change that model to get gamers in and make them feel respected. Look, I'm not an idiot. I want to make a lot of money. I want the team to make a lot of money. But I want, when gamers play our game, I want them to feel good about it. I want them to go, yeah, fuck yeah, we gave you our money because we love your game. And the business model doesn't interfere with the game experience. So if we can find a great partner who really gets that and believes in that and wants to help us create what that is, I would love to work with publishers. That would be awesome. But we are also thinking maybe if we can't find that, maybe we'll do Kickstarter, maybe we'll go VC. So we're just now budgeting it out and figuring out the best way to go about and get funding.
Have you heard of how Valve is approaching Dota 2?
I did. Well, I mean, here's what I know. I heard that unlike League of Legends, they're obviously not selling characters or selling cosmetics because they're worried about the balance, which I thought was that's the only thing I know. If there's more details that were lost on me, but that's the gist, right? Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I love that. I love that because I think, I mean, look, I'm not knocking League of Legends. I think it's a great game. It's made a lot of people a lot of money, and it's really good. But I do think there's something really cool, and I hope it's really successful for Valve about the idea of just selling the cosmetics. Now, I will tell you, that's not our plan, because my concern is if I look at the free-to-play space, one of the things I've loved doing, and I was so grateful that we got to do when we worked with Sony, is create IP. I love looking around and seeing that there's Kratos, and there was a guy dressed up as Sweet Tooth earlier, and that I got to have a big hand in sort of creating that with the team that I worked with. Free-to-play games so far, I haven't found them to have as much sort of imagination and voice and vision and sort of IP value as, say, console games, and that's something else we want to bring. And there becomes, you want to give players an ownership of their characters, but the minute you start letting them, you know, let's say you're doing like, we're not, but let's say you're doing like a Call of Duty game, and oh look, I can put a crazy leprechaun hat on my guy. I get that, I get the appeal of that, but to me, immediately, for me, you get into a place where the brand suddenly, it's a fucking free-for-all. And that's cool for some people, but for me, I'd like to create a brand in the free-to-play space that really is, the brand has a louder voice than that, but still allows gamers a lot of expression, if that makes sense.
Can you sort of talk about the free-to-play model? I mean, like... No. Okay, so are you playing a lot of other free-to-play shooters, seeing what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong?
Well, I mean, I play everything. My whole theory is that, I mean, look, I think anybody who looks at a company like Zynga and has anything negative to say about their business, they're not very bright, because they clearly understand something out there that the customer wants, and you got to give respect to that, right? But I will say that if you strip the business model out, like I was playing Adventure World and really enjoying it, but then I said, oh, fuck it, I'm going to pay 60, 70 bucks. The minute I did that, I wasn't as engaged with the game, right? And I realized that a lot of the games, you really are playing the business model. How can I basically do as much as I want for free without having to pay? And the minute I paid, because I was just like, well, you know, I want to pay and see what that's like, the game underneath it was good, it was really well executed, but it wasn't so compelling that I wanted to keep playing much more. So my theory really is, business model, yeah, you have to fold the business model in. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. But the game, if you strip the business model out, should still be awesome. So when you ask, what am I playing? Playing everything, because it's really about games. Whether you're talking an iOS game or you're talking one of these great next-gen games you see at the Sony booth, end of the day, is your game compelling? Is it interesting? Is it fun on its own merits? And so I'm playing a lot of the free-to-play stuff, but I'm also playing, you know, I'm playing Max Payne 3 as well, you know, which is the farthest thing from free-to-play, because end of the day, it's got to be about a great game, and everything comes from that. I think it's been the bottom up until now, and that's kind of been one of the problems I have with it.
Can you talk a little bit about the premise of the game? I mean, you said it's a shooter. It's going to be like a futuristic shooter.
I'm going to tell you.
There's no title yet or anything like that?
There is. There's a lot of stuff, but I don't want to share it.
Okay. And I know you have to go soon, but...
I want to share it, but I'm not going to share it, because I don't want to fuck myself, but I want to share it very much.
Okay, I know you have to...
Yeah, GameSpot, they said be there at 2:30, and it is now 2:31. I'll give you an extra question.
Okay, final question.
I was going to say, fuck yeah, I like those guys. I'm kidding, but yeah, let's go.
What do you think about the show so far this year?
Oh,
three, that is.
I love it. I'm sorry, I was distracted. I love it. I mean, listen, you know, we had Twisted Metal here for the last 2 years, right? So, you know, even though I was able to walk around the show, you don't want to, because these are your children. I guarantee you Todd Pappy's probably, they can't pull them away from this except to pee and go eat, right? Because you want, and the team as well, but when I was the director, you're just like, you want to watch everything. What's working, what's not working, what do they like, when are they smiling, all that shit. So when you don't have a game here, it's been 2 years since I haven't. This is the first time in a while I've gotten to walk the show. I've had a lot of meetings, but besides that, I've gotten to walk the show as a fan and as a gamer, and I've loved it. I thought the Ubisoft booth was fantastic. It's probably my favorite suite of games. There was a lot of great games this year, but what I thought was great about their booth was great technology, amazing execution, but every game I saw, and I saw pretty much all of them, there was creative spirit, there was a voice, there was a neat mechanic, there was something about every game I saw on display that was, it was a great mix of sort of the tech of making a game, a huge budget game, and the creativity and spirit of making a game. Now every booth here has something like that. A lot of games, Sony has that, but at Ubisoft it was amazing to see that almost every game had that. And I was like, what the fuck did they put in the water over there? It was very impressive. But I saw some great stuff at Microsoft. I think Halo looks amazing. They have that Summer of Arcade with the cover shooter. It's called Recoil, I think it is, where you're hiding behind the cover and you go from cover to cover in jetpacks. Was awesome. The Wii U, I played Rayman, was great. I played Tank was great. It's just been a lot of fun. It's been a good show.
All right, and David Jaffe, really busy. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. And yeah, thank you.